On, everybody? It's Key Time coming back with another one to talk about March Madness. The NCAA March Madness is in full swing, and we have quite a few upsets to talk about. The first upset I am going to talk about is Oakland and Kentucky. Now, I projected Kentucky to win this game, but one thing I noticed when the game started, Kentucky, they wasn't able to make any threes. And this is a team that averaged 10 threes made a game, and they only made four. And Oakland, in the last 3 minutes of that game, they made key shots and key plays when they had to make them. And Kentucky's big guys, they started getting in foul trouble, and they also started missing free throws, and that will lose you a game no matter what level of sport you are playing. Turnovers and penalties, well, turnovers and fouls in this case, since we're talking about basketball, will lose you a game. Now, Oakland, they win was short lived because they lost to NC State. They lost to NC State on Saturday. So Oakland, like I said, before March Madness start, Oakland, you gonna collect your little paycheck. You gonna enjoy a win here or maybe there. You got your win over Kentucky. Now we sending you back home. So that's the first. That's the first upset I seen that caught my eye. Now to the second upset. The second upset, it was obviously out of nowhere, Dayton. I thought Nevada would be able to win over Dayton, but obviously they lost. Now it was a play late in the game that I didn't agree with. The game is tied. You're tied at 60. Why, in Nevada's case, why would you take a quick shot knowing that you can dribble down the time, dribble out the clock, and then shoot? You still had over 10 seconds left on the shot clock, and then you put up a quick shot and you miss, and then Dayton gets the ball, go back down. Well, first Dayton called a timeout, then they went back down, huddled up, drew up a play, and for a game-winning three. So Nevada, that's where they messed up at. Nevada, the shot selection and also time management, that is what made Nevada lose the game versus Dayton, because of clock management and shot selection. Now let me get to some of these big time matchups that had some tight finishes. The first one I'm going to talk about is Samford and Kansas. Now, Kansas, I predicted that y'all were going to win this game, but I was a little nervous. I was a little nervous throughout the game because Samford was not going away. The largest lead that Kansas had in this game was 10 points. And in the last few minutes, Samford was just prolonging the game because basically Kansas, they were making shots. Samford couldn't make any stops. And also, Samford missed a few free throws that would have basically drew the game within 2 or 3 points. Or they maybe even would have went into overtime. But who knows? You can't miss the free throws. You can't miss the free throws. Free throws are critical at this time of the season for March Madness. Now, the next upset I'm going to talk about is Yale. And Yale also lost last night. So this is going to be back-to-back Yale topics. So yeah, well, Auburn, they had a good season. Came into March Madness off their high horse, beat my dearly beloved Florida Gators down, and everybody had Auburn winning versus Yale. But me, I had said it ain't gonna be a walk in the park for Auburn to beat Yale, and it certainly wasn't. This game was tight throughout, and then all of a sudden at the end, Yale won the game. So that's why I was like, everybody picked Auburn. Me, I didn't bet on the game, but I felt like I won some money off of it because everybody was picking Auburn, but I had picked Yale. Yale, they had a good team. And also, can they make it back this far? Maybe, maybe not. But that remains to be seen. But Yale, they had a good team. They also lost yesterday. Yale lost to San Diego State. That's the team that played UConn in the Final Four last year, and this game wasn't even close. The largest lead San Diego State had was 23, and they ended up winning by 28. So Yale, one game wonder, they won their game, but we really getting down to the nitty gritty. I think this is 40. It's down to 48 teams. So yeah, it's down to 48 teams. So now we have in the Sweet 16. Well, today's game, Fort Wayne, Tarleton State. That'll be a game later on today in March Madness. But now we get to the Sweet 16 on Thursday, and I will give my prediction video on Thursday just before these games start. So for the Sweet 16, we have number 6 Clemson versus number 2 Arizona. And also, this is going to be a good game right here. Number 5 San Diego State versus number 1 UConn. I already know who they got favored in that. Then we have, this is still for the Thursday bracket. So number 4 Alabama versus number 1 UNC. And to finish out Thursday's bracket for the Sweet 16, number 3 Illinois versus number 2 Iowa State. So for Friday's bracket for the Sweet 16, number 11 NC State versus number 2 Marquette. Also, number 5 Gonzaga versus number 1 Purdue. That is going to be a good game. The next game, number 4 Duke versus number 1 Houston. And to finish out Friday's bracket of the Sweet 16, number 3 Creighton versus number 2 Tennessee. Now, all of these games right here, they are going to be close. I'm not going to give out my predictions for these games, but I will tell you who is favored. So in the Clemson Arizona game, Arizona is favored in that game by 3. In the San Diego State versus UConn game, UConn is favored by 13. In the Alabama versus UNC game, UNC is favored by 4. In the Illinois versus Iowa State game, Iowa State is favored by 4. And for the 4 other games in Friday's bracket, Marquette is favored, Purdue is favored, Duke is favored, and Creighton is favored in these games. Now, my reactions from this past weekend were really no surprise. I knew that we were going to see some upsets, and I also noticed that some teams they are Cinderella teams, and then other teams are just better. Now, one thing I can say is that every team that UConn has played, they are just better than them. They really are. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if we get to the Final Four and it's Purdue and UConn. That would be a great national college basketball championship matchup. That would be great. So now what we got to look forward to is the Sweet 16 and also the Elite 8. So this week, it is going to be a week full of upsets. Maybe not like what we had this past weekend, but I do see a few upsets here and there. And with that, those are my reactions from the weekend in the NCAA men's basketball March Madness. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Click the notification bell to be notified of all of my uploads. And also, remember, the key is always on time.